Hi, everybody. Before we get to another great interview, the Two Opinionated podcast could really use your help. And it's easy, it's free. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, imdb.com, named us a top 100 podcast. We came in at number 82. That's a big deal because there's 15 million podcasts and growing. So to be named to anybody's top 100 list, pretty big deal for us. And the way you can help is to go to imdb.com, look up the Two Opinionated podcast, and that's it. Just bringing our page up. That traffic really helps us out. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. All we ask is that you subscribe. It's also free, but that really helps us to attract these amazing guests that we keep bringing on the program. And that's it. Two easy ways for you to support us, and we would really appreciate the help. Now let's get to that interview. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Two Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got interior designer Julie Jones with me. So welcome, Julie.
Thank you for having me.
That's underselling you a little, just saying interior designer. I think you do a lot more than that, but we'll get into
fine. Yeah, interior designer is just fine. That's how I would introduce myself to somebody. If they asked me what I do, I would say I'm an interior designer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I feel better about it.
Yeah,
well, that's not too bad. Did you notice off camera we were talking about the one time that I forgot to hit record during an interview? Did you notice I took just a second there and I was like, yeah, oh yeah, it's recording.
Yes. Yes, and I had to approve that this video was being recorded. Okay.
You know, when Zoom, when it first got popular there in 2020, it didn't warn you that you were being recorded. Oh. And I'm assuming that caused somebody a problem. And so they put that in there where you have to acknowledge that you're getting recorded. But they never really let anybody know that that was changing. So the first time that I heard it say, you know, you are now recording or whatever it is, it startled me, you know. That's never happened before. So let's start this way, Julie. Talk a little bit about your background, what got you interested in interior design, how you kind of got into that space.
Yes. Well, 20 years ago, actually, now I was fresh out of high school. No, and I knew I wanted to do something artistic, and I was a very artistic child. So I thought I wanted to be a fashion designer just because I love to sew. I actually made my own clothes. My mom went to school for fashion design.
Nice.
Also artistic.
It was kind of in the blood then.
Yeah, so she knew, you know, raising me that I was probably going to want to do an artistic career. Yeah. So she actually went to school for fashion design, didn't love it. And she kind of pushed me to say, hey, what if we went and looked at some interior design colleges? So I honestly, it sounded like not good enough. I don't know. It sounds weird, but I'm like, oh, interior design. Like I saw it as just a decorating field. Like, okay,
right.
I mean, I think I could, go check it out. And once I went and saw really what it was about, an actual program, 4-year degree program of interior design, I realized, okay, this is much more than I thought it was. Yeah. So it actually intrigued me. The more I learned about the career of interior design, and after my first year of a lot of hard work, I knew I wasn't backing out of that. I said, okay, this is actually, I think, going to be really good for me. I think this is good for my personality and my brain.
Did you go back and tell your mom thanks?
Yeah, of course. She knows. She takes credit. No, she's very, very happy for me that I became an interior designer, and she saw all the hard work I put into. So she knew that, I'm a perfectionist and I'm very detail oriented. So it fulfills that part of me too. But then I'm also creative. So this allows you to kind of have both. It allows you to, I will say I'm not the best at math, so don't call me there, but there's math involved actually. And so you're using both left brain, right brain in this career actually. So I think
that's kind of difficult to do.
It is very, yes. It's especially difficult. You can't really, it's impossible to use them at the same time. Maybe not impossible, but hard to use them at the same time. But so you're kind of flip-flopping constantly. So once I found out that it was more, more technical than that, I was all in kind of. And then graduating, I started, well, it was 2008 when I graduated. So the economy was the worst.
Not great. Yeah, not great.
So it's really hard to get a job actually anywhere. I remember going on interviews that even my teachers in school said, "Oh, I interviewed for that." And I said,
That's not a good sign.
no, I said, how in the world am I ever going to get a job? So I started just spreading the word. A lot of interior designers, they are self-employed. We have to kind of advocate for ourselves and get jobs ourselves, especially if you're going to freelance. So to start off, I started freelancing. And where is jobs for freelance interior designers? Residential. That's where there's jobs.
Yeah.
So even though I thought I wanted to be, a hospitality or commercial designer, a lot of people say that when they go to school, because you do actually have to learn quite a bit. So you have this brain full of this commercial knowledge and you're like, I better use this. So a lot of residential it honestly wasn't on my radar to
Yeah.
really get into it. It's just the way it happened. It's the way jobs were. It's where jobs were. I ended up then, my name got spread around and to several contractors. So they would contact me to help with their clients. And I ended up working for about 9 years for a design build company. And that's more of in-house. They have a designer, they'll have architects, and then they'll also handle the building construction, new builds, ADUs in California. ADUs are really popular here.
Well,
Because
so
of our
were
housing
you
crisis.
working directly for the company, or were you more contracted in?
Yes. So interior designers can choose to be basically, it's a very easy field to say, well, I'm contracted, because you don't have to tie yourself to another name, another brand. You can
Right.
still be a professional in your field, and take one job. And so I did become their in-house designer for a few years, but other than that, it helps you keep your options open when you're able to say, oh, I'm not tied to a company. I am free to take another client over
Right.
my own. And residential is really kind of the only field you can do that. If you're working for commercial, it's much, much different. But anyway, so the fact that I had so much experience then just right after college, getting, let's say a lot of years under my belt in residential, there really was no reason for me to leave residential, because
Right.
that's where I'd gained all my experience. So that's what the field I knew best. That's where I was most confident. So that's how I ended up where we are today as 16 years now as a residential interior designer.
Yeah, that's kind of amazing. And I was admiring your space that you're in right now.
Oh,
It's obvious that you take care of your own space too. It looks
well, this
terrific.
has been a project, actually. This is only my second day out here in my new office. This used to be, well, it's been many things in my home, but it's smack in the middle of my backyard. And so it used to be lots of things, used to be a guest room for a really long time. But since the business has grown, and I decided to just go ahead, officially call this my office. And
That's a good
that
space.
it required a lot of things. It required, new siding, just because we had, you neglect some things on your own property you can neglect them for a long time. So this was kind of a neglected project that I finally just now moved into. I still have to hang some art and do, things, but I'm happy to be out here. It's super bright out here. We got 8 new windows.
Yeah,
So
it looks amazing. It looks
yeah,
amazing.
it's
I had
actually
that when we first got our studio, we were just operating out of it and we weren't having people in. So we didn't really do anything. We just set up a table and
right.
started to do interviews. Well, then as we kind of grew in popularity and people wanted to come see the space, or we've done, some in-person interviews, that type of stuff. And then we're like, oh crap, we gotta actually do something with this.
Right, because people actually have to see it, and my
Right.
project.
It's one thing when you're in it by yourself, no big deal.
That's
But
right.
if you got people coming in, yeah, you better
Yeah,
fix it up.
yeah. So fixed up the office to now. I mean, I was especially if you work from home, you can literally be anywhere in the home. But I would
That's right.
take clients out here. I would take clients, and I would take clients in my kitchen. And so now, especially with summer, all my boys are home. I have 4 boys, and they're all home. So
Well, does it help, like our studio is about 5 minutes from the house. So it's a very short drive, but it really helps get me into the work mindset
right.
leaving the house.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It really is best for your mental health, probably not to work and be consumed by work and then look over and you see work, when you're, making dinner, especially me being in the kitchen, trying to put work aside. It's very difficult when it's right there at all times. So this really does help me kind of, all right, I close the computer, I, push sleep on the computer, and then I walk up to the house. I do trickle down here sometimes at like 11 at night.
Oh yeah, I totally believe that.
Like I did last night, I was down here till about 10:30 because I was just something I had to get done. But the good news is,
what does your husband do? What's his profession?
so my husband works for the government. So
Okay,
yeah.
very good. I mean, does it bother him when you're sneaking off and working late at night?
He
Or is he
understands. I
used
think,
to it?
yeah, he understands, especially with me. I never had to do that before, really, unless until I had my own business. And once the business kind of got going and it grew, he's very understanding. Of course, he misses his wife. That's not in the bed next to him 10:30 at night. But like last night, I walked in, he was watching a movie. So obviously, hey, he can go watch a
He's
movie.
gotten used to it. Well, because when you're running your own business, the hours can get a little wonky. You know, you're basically on call all the time.
Right. 24/7. Somebody says, do you ever not, when are your days off? I said, I don't, that's not a thing.
That's right.
I try if I'm not working, I'm spending time with the family,
Yeah.
whenever I can get it. But your phone is always buzzing, especially when you have a lot of employees. I don't have a ton, but I have many that need me to approve something or answer. There's usually some sort of crisis. Some fire I have to put out, some email that needs to be written, something that has to be paid. So yeah, so it's the family's gotten used to it. They're very, very gracious with me. I think I wouldn't probably tolerate me if I was married to me. But thankfully, I have a very sweet and understanding husband, and I have very sweet and understanding boys, who also are very happy for me that I'm able to be successful and have my own business post-COVID, where a lot of people, lost their jobs and now struggling even still. So the fact that, we can be on the opposite side of that, where we're thriving post-COVID, which I know so many people are not, it's a big blessing.
It's a blessing. You're exactly right.
Blessing.
Yeah. Yeah. And good for you for recognizing that. Cause yeah, it's tough out there for a lot of people.
Very tough. I know it by the applications I got. I just opened hiring for the first time in many months, and I got hundreds of applications.
Well, you've got a fairly sizable team. I was very impressed with that.
Yeah, we're about to grow out of those 100 applications. Many, honestly. It's very hard too when you look at these overqualified people. Also, it's bad when like overqualified people are applying as well. So it's, I'm very happy to be able to even offer employment now. But yeah, I'll be bringing about 5 more people on board like next week. So that's very exciting. And that's 5 people that needed a job, that's looking for a job. So,
yeah, good for you. That's really good. How did you transition from doing like in person to online? How did that come out? Because that's a difficult pivot. But I will say that people are getting more and more used to doing things virtually.
They are. And we have COVID to thank for that, honestly. I don't know if I don't know if I would have a thriving business if it weren't for everyone being very comfortable with Zoom, like you mentioned in 2020, skyrocketing. I'm sure their stock just skyrocketed in 2020. But yeah, it's because people are a lot more comfortable talking on a screen than in person. They're a lot more comfortable saying, okay, you can send me that via email instead of handing it to you. So showing it to you, screen sharing and showing you something. So all of that, we really do have, honestly, we don't want to thank COVID for anything, but because of COVID,
I totally get that. We would not be nearly the podcast we are if it wasn't for 2020, because everybody was stuck at home. We didn't get very many no's. I'd reach out to interview somebody and they're like, well, I'm not doing anything else. And it took, it helped us take off. But I've said I would give it up if we could have skipped that whole mess and it just was taking the misery away from everybody. But it did help us. I'll admit that.
There are always blessings out of bad circumstances. There's always going to be good out of bad. And I feel like, a lot of businesses starting because of COVID, it maybe is that's the good out of the bad. And
we didn't even do video until COVID. And we're like, hey, this Zoom's pretty good. We could probably use it.
Right. We also, we also have social media to thank. We have a little app.
Yeah.
Well, my business has an
I was
app.
very impressed you had an app.
Yeah, the app. Well, not me. I have an app. I have technically a style quiz. That's the app in the website. But not my app, a app called TikTok. The app I started on, basically, I started social media. I didn't even have social media for my work before 2021. Never advertised myself online a day.
Yeah.
And then a friend started a TikTok channel for me and said, you need to get on there. He said, lots of people are on there for their business. And I said, I don't think so.
No, thanks.
Trust me. Yeah, he said, trust me. He's a social media kind of guru guy. And he said, no, I'm telling you, just try it. You don't know what could come out of it. It's a way to get exposure. And I said, I'm not that kind of person. I don't want to be online. I don't want people to see me. I don't want to be judged like that, I think. And I
Yeah.
just, anyway, but being like 2021, all my clients were Zooming with me. My in-person clients who live 15 minutes away are talking to me on a screen.
Yeah.
So I started, posting. It evolved into, I started with just testing water, see what I want to post on there. What even is this app about? Where should I even go starting a social media account?
Right.
That and art for a little bit, just because I wasn't, I love art. I love to paint. Started it with just a hobby to see how this goes. Again, not being paid, have to do this in my free time. Now I'm having to record myself doing it, things I've never done before, having to like set up a camera and talk to a camera, something I've also hadn't done before.
Takes some getting used to.
So yeah, so lots of new things to learn. So I kind of was just testing it. And then quickly, actually, overnight almost, I
know, what is that like? Like you put up a video and you come back and it's got hundreds of thousands of views. I mean, it's amazing.
It was, it's unreal. You can't really be prepared for it. I think you just have to like ride that wave. But I had 60 messages in Instagram overnight after one video saying, help me, help me, help me, help me, please help me. Can I hire you? Can you help me? And I was like, what? I'm like, what?
It's a little daunting when that happens because like you can't, there's no time to be lazy at that point. Like you have to take advantage of that moment.
Well, yes. And I had to really make a decision. I had to say, okay. So I tried to do both. I tried to do my job, my in-person job with the design build company. And I tried to take clients online. I did that for about 3 months before I worked, 70, 80 hours a week. Yeah, it was not healthy at all.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Especially with a family, a young family.
That's
too.
Right. That's for my family, for my health, for lack of sleep, for all the things. I knew I had to make a decision. I'm either going to do this and I'm going to make a business, or I'm going to give it up and I'm going to go back to my quiet life. Just doing in-person clients. And honestly, I look back and I miss that life. Sometimes I do. I say, oh, what a simple, like peaceful, not simple, but what a peaceful time that was. And now it's just, I'm obviously very grateful for the business and what it's become, but it was a lot of work getting there. It was a lot of learning, suddenly. So I made that decision. I decided to give my notice at work and say, I'm not coming back. And they said, are you sure? Are you sure that's good? Like, what if this might just be a phase? Like it might be a trend. It might not even last. And I said, I know it's just by faith. I have to say, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put my all into it. And once I made that decision, it just went like that. Yeah. And I was able to put energy and time into it, all of my energy and time into it, and build a business basically out of that. And I wouldn't have done that if my friend hadn't created that account for me, way back in 2021, not way back, short time ago.
Yeah, I know. It seems like I always joke that 2020 took like 5 years to get through that year, but it's actually moved really fast since then.
So, really the business is only about 2 years old. So, because really I didn't actually make the business say, okay, we're going to do this until 2022. And so I said, all right, here we go. I had my first employee, beginning of 2023. And so there you go, really only 2 years old. So we've grown very quickly, and we've evolved. I've had to just evolve the business and kind of go where people want me to go. The nice thing about social media is they'll give you feedback, whether you want it or not.
Yeah,
You get feedback
for sure.
on what you offer. So I kind of just said, well, what do you guys want from me? What do you want me to offer you? So that's how the services kind of evolved, is by getting followers feedback, by getting clients feedback. And so far it's been a nice it's been a nice year of, after that first initial year of really just discovering when and doing this with the
Yep.
business. But this year has really been very smooth. Let's call it as smooth as it could be for being a new business, and kind of finding our groove in the
Right.
virtual design space.
Well, so are you on the website? Are you putting up, projects that you have worked on, or are you staging, areas that you think someone might want to do?
No, everything on our website, everything that I advertise is a real client. So
Okay. Yeah.
not done any staging, nothing's fake. Now we do have, since it is all virtual, these are all images, and if it's up to the client to carry out their
Right.
image. So we do get clients that email back and say, I went with your design just yesterday. Somebody came in the inbox and said, I hired Brandy, one of my designers, and I followed through, and this is their living room now, and it looks beautiful. And like, that is really that's the real design. That's where we say, all right, everything we did technically, yes, this is just a vision, not real. It's a visual, but this is a plan. Now the client, it gets handed to the client for them to carry out. And that's where we see real results. But yeah, that's everything on the website. Is anything that we advertise is definitely a real client, not just for marketing. Say that.
Yeah. Well, the website's terrific. Are you doing most of that yourself, or do you have somebody doing that for you?
So far, so far it's been me.
Yeah, I
I
kind of suspected
do
that.
have assistants. I'm currently building another website right now, where I'm hoping to get a little more help than just me, but I have a lot of helpers as far as assistants. Literally, I think I have like 5. I don't know how many I'm up to right now, but I have a lot of helpers who help me do a lot of things that we delegate to lots of people. But this next website, I'm hoping not to be the only
That's
one.
right. Well, it's hard enough maintaining one.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to get some help with that one. That'll be launching literally next month, hopefully. Hopefully.
I love the descriptions you would use for the sets. Like you have one. It was a living room. You said was moody and transitional.
Oh,
I like that. I was like, oh, okay, all right.
sometimes, yeah, sometimes you have to label, because a lot of people, they would like words to go along with the design. They say,
Well, they want a feeling. They want
that's
to feel
right.
it.
They say,
Yeah.
what would you call that? Or
Or a
they want
mood.
inspiration. Yeah, they want inspiration. They say, oh, I really like this room. What would you call that? Why? They want to go Google it. They want to say, oh, moody transitional living room. Okay, now they have a phrase to type into Google to say, all right,
Yeah.
where's more inspiration for it? So we do try to label, even though it's not in, it's no science behind that. It's how we feel the room looks. Well, it looks a little moody, and it's a transitional and design style, because there are lots of design styles, which I could go into if you want me to, but there's a lot of different design styles that people can be kind of categorized in, and transitional is one. So we say, okay, moody, because it feels kind of like a dark, or it feels very saturated. Okay, there you go. There's moody, and then transitional is the design style. So we try to label them just for the general public and for our clients, for anyone wanting inspiration to go and search again for more of that, basically.
Well, and I love the fact that you can what you're showing in the room, you give links if somebody wants
Right.
to just buy one piece of it.
Yep, they can. We try to be as I try to, because I started on social media, backtrack a little bit. Social media is free, right? That's free information. So I try to give free resources as much as I can, because I know not everyone, like we just talked about, times are really tough for a
They're
lot of
tough. Yeah.
people. They can't, design is a luxury service. Sadly, Everybody should deserve it, but that's money that you don't have to spend, that someone's choosing to spend to get a better layout or to get a design for their space that feels more like them, that they're more comfortable in. Also has the safety aspect. We try to, to make our spaces as safe as possible. So that's where someone may spend money on. Yes, okay, let's get a functioning room. But other than that, it is, it's a subjective service that someone may think they need or may not need.
Well,
So
I kind of like the fact that, if there's a difference in living in a space and actually enjoying, and having that space reflect who you are, it's mentally, it's
right.
more positive to have that space attuned to yourself or your family, whatever it is, than just to be occupying the space because you can't afford or you don't have the time to actually do anything with it.
Yeah.
If any of that made sense.
It really does affect your well-being. It affects your
Yeah.
mental health. There's a lot of psychology around design. That's too deep of a subject, I think, for us to go into in one interview, but there's a lot of psychology. There's a reason that, hospital rooms with a window have a higher recovery time than without a window. It really does affect your health in many different ways. Your mental health is what I'm talking about, which can affect your health.
It can.
But
Yeah.
there's a lot of psychology behind design of how we feel in a space. So that being said, a lot of people can't afford to have a service that helps them get there, to help
Right.
them feel feel good in their space. But what we can do is try to give as many free resources as we can to the public, to my followers who say, I love your work. I wish I could afford you. Well, let me try to give you some really free content that's hopefully very helpful. Let me walk you through a design. Let me walk you through something that I can't tell you how many people say, oh, this living room's exactly like mine. Wonderful. You just got a free, living room layout if you'd like it, so you say, oh, here's a way to lay out your living room. And then if you like this style, this client had a style, I talk about their style a little bit. This is their moody transitional style. Okay, if you like the moody transitional style, here's everything we put in the room that we're able to link, because some stuff isn't able to be linked, whether that was a custom piece or whether it
Right.
was a website that won't allow us to link due to other reasons, whatever it is, copyright, whatever, what have you. Some websites don't allow us to link from them, but whoever does allow us to link, we share that. So you can
I know
go.
it seems like they'd want it linked because it's probably
Yes,
going to
there
benefit
are,
them.
but some companies are really small where they haven't given permission.
Right.
Let's say for a large website like a Like to Know website, where they do actually give you commission off of certain things, not everything, but that website has to agree to that. They have to say, okay, yes, we'll allow you to link. So in the future, hopefully we can have all those links just on our website and not have to go through third parties, but it is another free resource for someone to say, here, go to my Like to Know page. Here's everything we put in the room that we were able to link that you can shop from and get kind of a free design from if you'd like it, if you like it. And there's so many clients now that really there's no excuse to not find something you don't like, because there's so many different styles that we
Right.
share on LTK. We share the room, we share the title, and we share all the links in it. So it's a wealth of information. It's a wealth of sourcing for someone that is looking to save money and
Right.
say, oh, well, these designers have designed all of these rooms. They've all been put together for, not for me personally, but for a client that maybe like me.
Right. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So if I come to you and I have a room, let's say I've got a room that I want to do something with, but I don't even have an idea what my style is or what I like. Where do you start? How do you start that?
Yes. So this is the biggest question I used to get asked. And so I said, let me fix this for everybody, or let me at least just help. Let me help these people who are asking me that. I think that was the number one comment probably that I would get is, where do I start? How do I know my style? Where do I find my style? So I used to say, start looking at images, start saving images, go look through Pinterest, go look through, just type into Google, you love pink living room, go type something to start it. But now I thought, well, let's give them a little bit more direction
Well,
than
yeah,
that.
because that's not enough for some people. Like if you told me that, I'll be like, that sounds like a lot.
Okay, yeah, exactly. And that sounds like a lot of work, right? That sounds like, now I have to do what? So this earlier, well, it actually took me a really long time. So it started last year, but I knew I was going to develop some sort of style guide, a style quiz for my followers, for my clients, for a launch pad for them, to give them something, a name. That's a big thing, is give them
Right.
a name to their style, show them, a path that they might be attracted to, give them a color palette even. So this was me kind of building. It took me 7 months just to develop the quiz.
Wow.
It's a big giant quiz on my website. It costs a lot of money to make. Nothing's free. Web developers and lots of things. The images alone, people don't realize you have to pay for those.
Yeah.
So anyway, I knew I was going to develop a quiz for someone to go on the website. I wanted it to be, number one, very short. I've taken several style quizzes trying to, especially in the research up to this, what do I not like about these style quizzes? Well, number one, some were so long. They had me scrolling for 10 minutes.
Yeah, nobody has time for that.
Just get me to my style, please. So I knew I wanted it to be very quick and very short, not take a lot of time. Maybe it takes 2 minutes to do. Okay, wonderful. And then I knew I wanted it to be very diverse. I want it to span a lot of different styles. I want it to have, let me try to gather as many styles as I think that could be categorized in names. And let's try to put them in this quiz. So I ended up with 27. I ended up 27
Wow.
different design styles. That's a lot.
I don't know how many I was thinking you were going to say, but that was a lot more than I was expecting.
There's a lot. There's even more that I did not include. But I wanted to just do ones that I think would be overall, someone could identify, and can they type that in and search that? Can they say, okay, here is my style. I got mid-century modern and I also got postmodern. Okay, I don't know what postmodern means. Let me go type that in and see what that means. There you go. You just got a name. And then also that they would have gotten, let's say they went down that path, because there's lots of different paths you can go down in the quiz. And they went down that path because of the images that were presented to them, basically by saying, yes, I like that picture. All right, we're going to take you down this path now. If you don't like that picture and you go down that path and you say, oh, I don't like these pictures now, there's a back button. You can go back. I even knew that some people are going to be like, oh, no, now I don't know where I'm going. I don't like any of these. Yeah. So I had them go back to a different image this time. So let's say you finally got to the end and these are your styles. So I even want to give you a color palette in that style. So here you have a name to type in, and now you have a color palette, a suggested color palette that you can start from. And you can say, oh, well, these colors work well together in the style that I like. And then even one step further, I went even one step further after the quiz was launched and developed to give people even more sources. Is I created a catalog, because a lot of people were saying, well, where can I see all these 27 styles? I only went down one path. I don't think I only saw like 4. Well, let me show you all of them. So in a catalog I have on my website that you can have access to, you just give me your email and we'll get you a link to the catalog.
Yeah.
And there's all the styles in the quiz. There are 2 more color palettes per style of those 27 styles. And then there is free links. There are sourcing in each of those styles. There's at least 8 to 10 links for furniture.
And it had to take forever to set up.
It sure did. I'm very proud of it now that it's done, because it did take a lot of my time. I truly was the one behind the screen doing that too. Yeah. So it did take a lot of my personal energy and time to do this. I didn't have help with the style quiz. So if anybody
it sounds to me like maybe you could do some web designing.
No, please don't. The coding I can't do. I did have a web developer help me actually get it live and online. And honestly, it was like just the jargon that he would come back and say. He'd email me and say, this and this was going on. And I'm like, don't know what any of that means, but okay.
Okay. Well, even after you set up a website, like initially set it up, it takes so much time to make adjustments to the website and keep it up to date. It's a full-time job just doing that.
It is. I agree with you. It is. So that's where I'm saying maybe one of those, maybe instead of hiring 5 people, maybe that'll be the 6th person will be for the website. Because I'm getting a little bit too overwhelmed with even trying to keep up with that. But, especially when it involves the back end of the business, where a lot of that stuff is private, it does have to do with a lot of things that aren't, not everybody can see. So it is still, I am the head of the business. So that is kind of my job to behind the scenes.
The buck stops here.
That's right. That's what I was just about to say. If anyone doesn't like the style quiz, well, you really do only have me to blame. So just blame me.
Well, you've even got links on there for like deals or fines under $50, under $100. I mean,
Well, we used to do a lot of that on social media. We used to do
yeah,
a lot. Now we're real busy, and content has to do with it has to do with our clients, because that's really, but in the early days of me TikTok, yes, I used to post helpful content like that. Here's a room we're going to do for under $1,000. And so
yeah,
here's all these links. This whole room was under $1,000. So I recently did one for a follower that wasn't a client on TikTok, who posted their room and really needed help. About 100 people tagged me in her video that said, help this lady. So I said, oh my goodness, okay, because I'm busy. I don't see a lot of tags. I don't
right.
see that I had enough where I was like, okay, let me go look at this video real quick. Let me see how I can help. So there you go. So everything in her room, I believe, was under $1,000, around 1,500 or 1,000. So, free links again saying, here, you can go get your whole room refurnished or decorated a little bit more with these links, and they're all very affordable. So I do know, I'm very mindful of that. We have clients that have a budget. Some are under $1,000, believe it or
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
for a whole room. So we do try to be as well realistic as we can. But we do
Do
try to
you
stick.
ever go like? Do you ever do it yourself and set it up for them, or is it you're giving them the design and then they have to
Right.
go and put it together?
Well, it would be kind of impossible. I'd have to fly there. 'Cause a
You
lot of my
would,
clients
yeah,
aren't here. And I have kind of have that boundary where some people have asked me to come, to fly to their state or whatever. And I've just politely declined because I do have a family here.
yeah,
And I don't think I think people are very capable. Number one, I don't need to actually have everything be brought in by me. I don't need to set up or stage. We're going to try to give you the resources so you can stage and set it up yourself. So yeah, so in person, yes, we're there to hold their hand. And in San Diego where I'm at, yes, we do actually go into your home. We purchase your furniture for you,
yeah.
even we'll order it, we'll ship it to my warehouse, and then we'll get it in your space. But for virtual clients, no, there's really, and also they're choosing a lot of other designers who are all over the country. So we want to keep it only virtual, first of all, just to be, first of all, fair to everyone else, even if you have a designer in your city. We are going to be fair and keep everything virtual, because that's what they paid for as well. They paid for a virtual service. It costs much, much more for in-person
That's
work.
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So you're saving money here by getting a virtual design basically as well. By saying, I can do that. I can stage it. I can get the electrician over to replace my lighting, instead of me doing that, instead of me calling my electrician, you're
Right.
going to do it. You're going to use your resources where you live in your state and your city.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And I didn't even think of that. I'm guessing that all of your employees are not in San Diego.
No, I only have, well, I do have an assistant here who's my personal assistant, but only one of my designers happens to be in San Diego. When I hired her, she was in Texas. And then she's military, so they moved her to San Diego. And so I get to have coffee with her sometimes. But we're both real busy. So, but then other than that, I have just my assistant here with me. Everyone else is all over the country.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Good for you for setting that up, because I know just from the little bit we do with the podcast, I know how difficult it is to run stuff virtually. It's not an easy. People think, oh, you're virtual, you're not here. That's much easier. Working at home, much easier. It's not.
Yeah,
It's
it's a lot
difficult. It's
of,
just a different difficult.
yeah, it's difficult. Absolutely. I think, this comes with a lot of pros. Being virtual does
Yeah.
come with pros. There's for sure in our field, especially, virtual design is very different than in-person design. You're always on the go. You're sitting in front of your computer, yes, to design, but then you're running to tile shops and you're going to clients' homes and you didn't get a measurement and you can't find their mini bar measurement. So you got to go back and get it. And, there's a lot of things that we're doing. We're here, really, it is, you work from home, you sit behind your desk, a lot of my designers are moms, so they can take care of their kids. Their kids are all home for the summer. So we've all been kind of chatting about,
I get that.
the challenges of that. That's been real challenging for everybody, is handling the kids all at home and plus trying to take a client in the other room and work, and hoping they're okay out there. And so yeah, they're all moms. So there's a lot of pros for being virtual, but it does, as most jobs do, it does come with challenges. We have communication is usually the biggest challenge there, because you can't really just lean over and tell somebody,
Right.
what you need to tell them, or you can't walk down the hall and tell them, it has to involve an email or a phone call. A lot of those have to be set up and timed and say, I
Well, that's
will
right.
call.
Because you know how that works. If you try to
Yep.
call somebody or email, you're waiting for the response.
That's right. So a lot of it is, I will call you at 1. And then,
Yeah.
okay, I'll talk to you then. So yeah, it's just a little bit of over communicating. You might have to do a little bit more. I don't mind that though, because then I sort of have this paper trail.
That's
I
right.
have evidence of whether a client was helped properly or not too.
That's
So there
right.
are pros to that. So yeah, there's always I can't find it where I said that. Well, let me go see where I said that. Let me type that in and type those words in and say, I found it. Here it is.
Yeah.
So there's pros to it, but yeah, it comes with its own challenges, as every job does, but a lot of pros. I can't discount. There's a lot of really good things about taking this career virtual.
Yeah, well, good for you. I thank you for taking a little bit of time. It's I think what you're doing is amazing. It surprises me that you're fairly new
Yeah,
at the virtual space anyway.
very, very new.
Yeah, because it's the website's very professional. It's very easy to navigate.
Oh,
Yeah, love what you're doing.
happy to hear that.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I'm the same
Since
way.
I did
Somebody
it
says
myself.
something nice about the website, and I'm like, yay.
Yeah, no, you're directly complimenting me when you do that. And and those things aren't our forte. When you're pushed into something that's not your forte. Usually I try to hire people where it is their forte, but just with the way the business was, I had to control it so much. I had to, you have to go in and edit it. I edit it every week. It seems I've got to edit something. Designers' wait times, for example, I have to go in and edit that because those change, those fluctuate. All right, somebody got a little overloaded. Let me go change their wait time real quick. So I do have to have a little bit more hands-on, which is why I need to go in the back end and do it myself. So there are pros, but I think eventually, we'll hire the professional.
That's right. That's right. We'll get there.
If I have to do it again, right, which I am, we'll hire maybe a professional. And that's the best thing we can do is hire someone that knows how to do it if we don't. But some things you do have to teach yourself. And like a lot of things, this virtual business, I had to teach myself how to do that. So you become, you wear many hats, and that's
right.
okay.
That's right. You get to, what is it? You become a SME, the subject matter expert.
Yes.
So before I let you go, Julie, run through, your social media, the website, all of that. Where can people find you if they're interested in using the service?
Well, first and foremost, Julie Jones Designs with an S at the end. Julie Jones Designs, it's plural. It's actually a verb, but people don't realize that. But Julie Jones Designs is a verb on the subject. That's the verb I'm designing.
Yeah, you're right.
Designs.com. That's just a little thing just for you.
I like that.
But yes, it also could be plural, meaning here's all the designs.
Right.
But yeah, JulieJonesDesigns.com. That's really where anyone can go to get any information on services. If not, if you want to get more free resources, I do share a lot of really helpful content. All my content, I try for it to be very helpful. If I'm going to share something, it's going to be
you're not wasting anybody's time.
Right. I don't just want, it's not for my own vanity. We'll say that because we know I don't really, it's not for me to be out there because that wasn't the goal. So really it is just for the business. It's to advertise to our services. I am sharing real clients and that have hired me. So you can go to my social media. TikTok is where the OG, where I started, and that's Julie Jones Designs. It's simple. Like the website. Instagram is also where I have social media. There's Julie Jones _designs. Believe it or not, Julie Jones Designs was taken there.
And it's so aggravating when you've used the same name on multiple social medias and then you find one, somebody has it and you're like, what?
Yep. I'm sure they snagged it probably after I made a TikTok. Probably something.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
And,
so anyway,
I'll bet you that they're not doing anything with it.
Probably not. They probably have 4 followers and not a profile picture. I don't know.
The underscore though, that saves you. Yeah,
Julie
we
Jones
ours
underscore
is
design.
underscored on Instagram too. Same type of thing. I'm like, how in the world?
Yeah, well, I was late to the game with Instagram too. I should have been on there 10 years ago and I wasn't. So that's newer. But there's a verification little check mark there. That's the good news. If you see that, there I am. And then this on Facebook, believe it or not, I have quite a big following on Facebook. So shout out to Facebook there. They're a new following just from last year. I started a Facebook account last year. So there's, 400,000 over there, which I'm happy
That's
to have.
amazing.
I didn't even know I should be over there, but turns out they like me over there. They follow.
A lot of
And
a lot of older audiences on
yeah,
Facebook.
it's a new concept to them, I think, too. A
Yeah,
lot of older audiences are on Facebook. I know my parents are on Facebook more than
mine
anything
too.
else. So they're new to even virtual design. A lot of it's a new concept to them. So they're happy to even see that's an option. So a lot of clients come from Facebook too. But I do have the verified Julie Jones designs over there. So you can check me over there. I believe the @ over there is Julie Jones Interior Designer. Again, because Julie Jones Designs was taken. But that's okay. We have, if you type in that to Facebook, I'll pop up.
Yeah, you come
Julie Jones
you
Designs,
come
yeah.
up.
I'll come up. But that's the 3 socials. I am on YouTube, but that we'll hopefully pay attention to that later.
That's right.
There's a lot of other things going on. YouTube's a whole nother thing.
It
So
is. It is.
one day we'll
YouTube's a
get
little
over there.
it's trickier than you would expect.
It is. It is. And it's a lot more time consuming, believe it or not, than any other platform,
Yeah.
just because it has to be much more produced.
Yeah.
There's much more of a production to it. So as you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
YouTube,
So
it took us a little while to get a handle on YouTube.
yes. And I'm waiting till I'll never have the time. I know that, but maybe I'm waiting to get somebody that has the time to handle YouTube. I'll
You're
get over
just
there. But I
waiting
am
for
on
that
there.
designer wannabe that is also a YouTube expert.
Yeah, then maybe they can help me over there. But I am over there. You can get me on YouTube as well, but there's mainly just some reels. There is about, I think, 4 or 5 videos that I've actually had sat down and
Yeah.
made just for YouTube. So there is some helpful content over there too. But really from the website, you can get to all those places. So that's why I say, just go to the website. You can get to all the things. You can get to the style quiz from the website that I mentioned earlier. All the services are on the website. We even do exteriors. We do
Wow.
exterior design. That's on the website. So it'll get you where you need to go, basically.
Terrific. Well, Julie, thank you so much. You have to come back and give us an update
I'd
down the
love
road, kind of let
to.
us see where it's went to.
Of course, I would love to. It's such a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Okay, hold on one second. Julie Jones, such a nice lady, and so talented at what she does. So I hope you enjoyed that. I love the fact that she's a very reluctant social media presence, even though she's really, really talented at it. I kind of love that. Just really a fun interview for me. I love speaking with people that are passionate about what they do and are talented at what they do. I'm a big admirer of creativity. I've spoke often of my wife and that she's an artist, and she's does pottery, and she paints, and her career is in music. She's just very artistic, and that's kind of the opposite of me. I am not creative at all, but I really appreciate people that are, and that's probably part of it, the fact that I'm not real creative. So hope you enjoyed that. If you've got interior design issues or thoughts, ideas that you would like to try, Julie Jones Designs is the place to go. I love that it's virtual, because like with me, I do most of my shopping online. I don't, I'll go to the grocery store, but even that, a lot of times we're ordering on online or on an app and having the food brought to us. So, as a society, we're kind of going more and more to virtual, and that fits for a lot of people. So if you're one of those people, check Julie out. Thank you so much for tuning in with us again this week. We're thrilled to have you here. Our website is meistercon.com. We've spent quite a bit of time on it, and not as much as what Julie has done, but you can find all 823 episodes of Two Opinionated, audio and video versions on there. It'll let you know if we're doing anything in studio, if we're going on location, if we're covering a convention, anything we have going on will be on the website, meistercon.com. So check us out there. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. If you go there, please subscribe. It's free. Really helps us out. Thank you guys so much. Till next time. Bye, everybody.